you're actually starting to break this down, and you can see the collapse of the move because that creation of the highest trend has happened. And it is starting to work its way back. Like it already created the 1 minute. I believe the 1 minute was from this point to something like this. Actually, no, it would have been more steep. The 1 minute would have been like that. The 3 minute, I think, would have been here. The 5 minute, I believe, would have been here. The 15 minute, if I remember correctly, was here. The 1 hour was here. We had a 4 hour created. That was something like this. And it's actually starting to now not break on the top, and it's actually starting to break down its timeframes on the bottom. So you've gone through this whole side of this pendulum on this move already, right? Like so you have this right here, which is a 4 hour trend, or an interior trend, which you also have an interior trend that coexists with it. And you've now started to work backwards to break that, right? You've now started to work backwards to break that. So you're actually losing this trend now, which is likely going to bring you to this, which is going to give you the final hold of the move, right? So you're actually losing this trend that you've created, right? You're on one side creating this trend out and out and out and out until that moment where you create the trend, but you start to do the work backwards to break it like this, right? And then eventually it gets to here and it falls off a cliff, right? Or, it falls off a cliff here if there's no hold level. Like these all have, an interaction with the hold levels that exist close to them. So there's a hold level around this one, around this one, around this one, around this one. Nothing to do with the bases of moves, but more to show you where a move is. Because the base of a move, let's talk about that for a second. The base of a move is something completely different, right? Like you have a base of a move, something like this, right? 9180, base of a move breaks. It completely collapses a move. This has nothing to do with trends, right? This is an origin level. You're going to have interior trends that represent the base of a move. But these trends here are being created to show the stabilization of a move, right? So, for example, once this creates the 4 hour, right? Like this, we haven't created a 12-hour trend yet, right? Like we haven't created a 12-hour trend. We have it from here to here. So let's mark this real quick and turn it to a different color just so it's very clear for us. Let's go, no, not that color. Let's go with, fine, sure, this green looks good. So you do have this to this, or even possibly, this point to this point. But anyways, you have the 12-hour, which hasn't really created the final swing of the move yet, which is likely going to be happening here, right? You're likely going to hit this and it's going to create some bounce and you're going to have that 12-hour trend. And then if you continue to hold this move, you're likely going to develop also the daily, right? Like we don't have the daily yet, but you're likely going to develop the daily, right? So if this bounces the move, you are likely going to see that daily gets created somewhere off of the bottom of this. At first, it'll be the 12-hour. And as this move holds and continues to hold, it's going to be the daily that gets created over time, a few more 12-hour candles. So if this thing holds, well, let's create that scenario. Okay, so you... oops, we have one more brushstroke to delete here. So we have the 12-hour that's possibly breaking. Maybe we're on the 4-hour right now and we say, okay, the 4-hour has not been developed because the 4 hours right here. It hasn't hard closed yet. So it's going to hard close and create this 4-hour. Sure, okay, hard closes, hits this level, bounces up, right? So it creates the 4-hour trend. This 4-hour trend maybe has a little hard close candle here. That creates the 4-hour trend. Comes up, moves around. This creates the 12-hour trend. This holds, is also creates your daily. So then you have that highest trend point, right? Because in this scenario, we have trends that exist against the move, right? We have interior and interior that represents this range of the move right here. So which hold level is it going to go to? Is it going to go to this one up here? Or possibly whatever else other holds we justified there on the hourly charts, right? So this was the hourly hold and there's that 15 minute in there as well. So is it going to go to this hold level? Or is it going to go to this hold level? Well, that's very much decided between this one and this one. As their interior trends, just deciding what part of the move it's going to go after. So when you break one of these trends, you're respectively going to go to its profit cap or the range that it represents above, right? You've already kind of hit the backside of this. You've already hit this 4-hour backside, or whatever's in here. I'm sure there's a valley in here. Yeah, the body of this valley right here, right? That's where the valley starts. It's the body of the valley. And you go to the greediest part of that valley, hold. which is kind of a reverse level, which is something we haven't talked about, but we will, of course, in the future. A reverse level here, and then so fine. Then maybe you go up to this range here, or even the reverse level, which would be right here, right? So, anywho, you've already hit this level, which is the hold on this move, and you're holding this. So you break your trend on either side. Both of your hold levels are tested, and you either create a base right here to go up to there, or you fall down to this. But this is what the interior trend represents, right? Like this interior trend represents this piece of the move right here. That's going to get you to your profit cap. And what's going to get you to your profit cap is those trends breaking on either side, and then you creating that same final trend, final hold. So we talked about that final hold, final low, come down to this level. Then you're at that spot right here. And we're going to kind of just adapt this on the fly, and we're going to do it like this. Come down to this level, create your trend like this, right? On the top side, you're also going to have a trend. So we're just going to mark a very interior trend here. We know that there's going to be some point here like this that connects from here to here, or something that comes higher and connects to here. So we can simply just shortcut all that. We don't need to know that right now, and do this like this, and mark this as the same color as this one. So what we're going to do, copy paste that one. We're going to move it up to here. So we can just simply shortcut this and know that this is kind of the same thing as to where these interior trends, this is its own interior trend. It's just the global against the legacy, or whatever you want to call it, against whatever's on the bottom on a much bigger time frame, right? So you break these larger trends, and so fine, you go after a larger piece. So that's perfectly fine. So then this is what happens. You get inside of this move, go back to the hourly charts. You come down, you create your final hold, final low. And then you can see if that trend is going to actually hold, right? Because this is that moment where you have that final hold level, you hit trend, and you've now kind of done that pendulum swing where you're seeing which side of this trade can hold. Like all throughout here to create these interior trends, you've already used a 1 minute that's adapted to a 3 minute, that's adapted to, like, you've already gone through that. If all the way out here you have 12 hours, right? A 12 hour, or possibly we'll put a D on the bottom for daily. You've already done the 1, the 3, the 5. You've already done the whole boom, boom, boom. Like you've already created all these trends until you get to your bigger trend, which is typically made off of your final hold level, right? So is this move going to move up or down? That's like, the question we should ask ourselves. Like, does this thing move up or does it move down? That is dependent on this level, right? So break this trend, or maybe hit this trend, come here, break this trend down, come to your final hold, create this trend here. If you start to now break the smaller time frames on top, you're going to break this trend here, right? So this is the interior trend that you need to break. So this is very much going to do the same thing. So that's the beauty of this, is that your top side trend is going to do the same thing. It's going to have that type of trend that was created. So if you could go back to all the way back here, delete these brushstrokes, and then create, your top side of this, you'd have the same thing, right? You'd have the same accumulation to accumulation candle. So you'd have something like this right here to this right here, and then where you have the 3 minutes. So the 3 minute doesn't hard close until here, right? So then you have the 3 minute here. Where's the 5 minute, and the 5 minute hard closes here to the top of it, right? And then you could even be maybe a little higher here, but that's fine. We're just going to stick with this one, this base of the move for now, because it's going to be relatively similar. So you have the 15 minute here, and the 15 minute doesn't hard close until here. So now you can go and create that hourly, which gives you this to this right here. And then you've got the hard close there. So you can create the 4 hour, which you actually don't have yet, which is being created off this, even still off this bigger time frame, the trend that's being followed. So you're doing very much the same thing. So right now you haven't closed a 4 hour trend. So you look at this move and you say, okay, well, where's the hold levels here? So we need to do the same thing on the other side. So we're just going to use a 5 minute chart. I believe there's a 5 minute level in here, from memory serves me correctly. This is the level. I believe I have it on my other chart here. Let me double check. 91.19. Okay, we got 91.19. What is this? 91.19. Yeah, that's the level there. So this is going to be the same thing, right? Like you've got, and maybe we're going to make these the same color here. Do purple. Yep, purple looks good. These represent the same level. This color, I think it was. Which color was it? Oh, this is going to bother me. It's not that. I think it's that one. No, it's that one. Okay, good. So these represent the same thing. Final low, final hold against the move, right? So, you can get rid of this and you know that has already started the hourly, right? So you're very much in that same pendulum on both sides, right? You don't have any close on the hourly to hourly. And I believe this is not created on the 4 hour yet, is it? It is actually the 4 hour here is created. So then you are going to actually, you do have a 4 hour that's created here, 4 hour to 4 hour, 4 hour to 4 hour, right? You do have both of those trends on both sides. This is likely moving down. You can see you've already tested your holds to break down. So you're likely going down to this side to see if this can hold. But then you're going to come into that same moment where it's final hold, final low, final hold, final low, into the larger piece of the move, which on this side breaks you down to here and this side breaks you up to here, right? Likely you're going to hit this, come up, hit this, and then move up to that range before you fall down longer term. But, I guess we'll see. Anywho, when you actually come down and hit this level, you've kind of created that final hold, final low, and you've created that trend landscape where you have breaking on the other side. So maybe you come up to this level here and you break down here, and then all of a sudden your 12 hour starts to break a 4 hour trend, right? Like you've got a 4 hour hard close on this side, and then you come up here and you ladder off of this, and then you've got a little lower, but there's a final hold level here, but it's already broken the 1 hour, right? So then you come up here and you're still technically ladder, but then it finally, breaks its next trend. And then that 15-minute trend that was, first it breaks here, first it breaks there, then it breaks here. You're starting to break the trend back in the opposite direction that actually breaks the move, right? So you create, you have the two pieces of that kind of swinging motion of that trend, and you create it here, right? You create it here, and then it goes like this, and then like this, and then it ends up creating maybe a 12-hour trend, and then it starts to break back those levels. That's where you see the collapse of a move, when it starts to break these levels back, right? You start to break these levels back, and you start seeing stuff like this, where it's get rid of all these lines, and what you start seeing is you start seeing new lows tested. That's because you had a trend break on the other side. That's because you've already started to re-break trends on the other side. Like here, for example, you're going to start to hard close the 4 hour, which maybe the hourly was the final trend created, right? Maybe this is a 1 minute, and maybe the final trend that was created on this side is the, not the one, but the 1 minute. And maybe this is the 1 hour is the final trend that's created, right? And then it starts to break backwards through its levels, right? So it's really interesting because these trends, despite hold levels, you can see which hold levels being hit based on which trend starts to reverse its direction. Because they're both going to equally be like a 1 minute starts here, a 1 minute starts here. You create this trend, you create that trend, you create this trend, create this trend, you create that trend, you create this trend. But then one of them starts to break back one of the 3 levels or 4 or 5 or whatever trends. It actually creates, one of them starts to break back the other direction. Delete those, and you're starting to see it right here. So if we were on the hourly charts here, right, and we did create this hourly trend, so it would have been, I believe it was here. Yes, it was here, and it hard closes to here, which didn't create the 4 hour. Don't believe this did, or did it? Yes, it did. It did create the 4 hour, but the 4 hour, I believe, was created here. No, okay, we have to redo this. Okay, so you have this here, and then that was the 15. This closes the hourly right here. And then that was the 4 hour. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so there we go. Just kind of shortcutting the move. So that's the 4 hour. And now it's starting to break down its timeframes back, right? So you can see it hasn't closed that, but it has closed the 1 hour, which gives you your trend here. And then you're going to have a 15-minute trend. So where's the 15-minute hard close, right? If you 15-minute hard close this trend, the move has gone down now. Like the move is already breaking down its levels. You have no untested hold levels. So if you start to hold this move, fine, you hold this move like this, like this, like this, like this. You come up, you go down, you start to hard close a 15-minute time frame here. You're going after this level. That's where you can see the trend break, and a first sign of a move collapsing is when you have trend creation, and it keeps creating higher time frames until that moment that it hits time frame and starts breaking back down its lower time frames, and then eventually it just gets to its hold level, right? When you're in a move like this, let's delete these brush strokes again because they're just too big and in the way. when you're in a move like this and you're saying, okay, you have the final hold here, you have the final hold here of a move, you can see which one it's going to go after based on which trend it starts to break backwards on. Okay. So we can look at the top side again. You create this hold level, right? You've got your 4 hour to 4 hour right here. Have you broken any hourlies yet? No, you haven't. Even if you had your hourly to hourly rates. Oops. Okay, let's delete these brushstrokes. You're getting in the way. Go back to this. And so fine, you have your hourly to hourly right here, and you have this break above here. You're not hard closing any more hourlies, and you've created a 4 hour, right? So you've created your 4 hour here, and you've created your 4 hour on this side already. You already broke the 1 hour on this side, like this, right? So you had this 1 hour hard close. Again, wasn't here because that was a 15-minute trend. And then the hourly hard closes to here. And then the 4 hour hard closes to here, which gives you breaking backwards. You see how I found that is that you had the hourly here, it hard closes to this one here, right? Or you could even say this one right here, right? So you could have that trend there, or you can have the hourly, which is right here. So two different trends, right? So you're going to see which one breaks, and you are going to see that this is actually starting to break its time frames back already. So as to where the 4 hour hard close was here, it's now starting to break its time frames back, right? This is the hard close of that time frame there, right? And then you're going to see the 15-minute close. So this has already started to create the break of those trend levels that it created on the other side. So if you, for example, come out here and you know, oh, look at, we're laddering from here or from here, whichever you presume it is, here to here to here, because it's going to be different in every move, right? Sometimes it's going to be this, sometimes it's going to be that. So for this example, we're marking both, but you can, you know, right now it's here, obviously, because our hold level is here, right? This is our hold level. But if our hold level was, you know, somewhere above this, then we would presumably use this. Another lesson for another time. But anywho, for this lesson, it could be either this one or this one. But in this case, it is this one indeed. And then you can see that, oh, it's laddering though. It looks so good. It's still laddering up. It's going to respect this. But what you're not seeing is this one is not going to hold and fall through, just like bases of the move fall through, like just like you have right here. Like we understand why this move here falls through, right? We understand that this is the base of a move. It gets developed over time, 9180, or it's actually 9180. I think it's a 15-minute level. Right there, 9180. Yep, 78. Well, yeah, that's fine. Right here, is that what it was? 9180. Yep, 9180. There it is, right there. And so fine. You know why the base of a move? Oh, it falls right through. Now you're going to have a situation where you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, well, let's go find the greediest 1 minute hold. Well, but there's a 1 minute hold here. Like it's right here. There's a 1 minute hold level right here. Yeah, there's a 1 minute hold level. But if it closes this trend on the 15-minute, guess where that hold level is going, right? So a difference in approach, right? A difference in how we land the airplane, right? Or, you know, get to the runway. Are we coming out here like this and we are hitting this and kind of holding like this and 15-minute hard closes, burp, dump, right? Because that's what's going to happen. Or are we doing this? Are we knife catching straight through and you know, we're kind of like this and, oh, we don't know if it's going to hold, but hey, the 15-minute hard closes above trend. Hey, guess where you're going? You're going to go, well, you're not going to break this, but the 15-minute hasn't hard closed yet. So there's a very big difference between when do you hit this level, right? Do you hit it right here? And you can, you know, go down and kind of hard close still over this because you're lingering kind of a $5 or $10 price range, or you come out here and hit this and it's like, oh my God, we're going right back up. It looks so good. But then, you know, the 15-minute hard closes here and you fall through the level, right? Or you kind of, let's create another scenario here because I think we're at that point where we have to create these scenarios now on this chart. And so do you come down to this level out here and hit this and kind of linger here for 2 or 3 minutes and then just fall straight down, right? Or do you know, come all the way out here and you hit this and you bounce up super high but it kind of holds here and then boop, goes straight down, right? So the difference in understanding that the trend is starting to break back on the other direction, starting to break itself backwards the other way. It's starting to actually break its own trend backwards because you do have that creation of a trend. And trend keeps respecting and creating until that moment that trend hard closes and breaks on the time frame because now the trend is breaking down and breaking back. And so you have that breaking of the trend, which gets you to that moment, right? And you can see right now, actually, we're approaching that level rather quickly. So I marked the wrong candle. It should be this one.